You have been lied to about what makes men attractive and respected. You were told that being nice, agreeable, and always available would earn you love and admiration. But instead you find yourself ignored, taken for granted, and forgotten by the very people you try hardest to please. Niccolo Machiavelli understood something about human nature that most men today refuse to accept: that fear and respect are more reliable than love and kindness, and that the man who can inspire both emotions simultaneously holds the keys to lasting influence and attraction. What if everything you believed about relationships and social dynamics was designed to keep you weak, dependent, and easily controlled by others who understand these principles better than you do? Most men think that showing every emotion makes them authentic and attractive, but this is precisely what makes them forgettable and weak. Machiavelli understood that emotional distance is not about being heartless or cruel. It is about maintaining control over your inner world so that others cannot manipulate or predict you. When you react to every slight, celebrate every small victory, or chase after every fleeting emotion, you become a puppet dancing to the rhythm of external circumstances. Women and people in general are drawn to those who seem to possess something deeper, something they cannot easily access or understand. The cold man does not suppress his emotions out of fear. He chooses when and how to express them with surgical precision. He understands that his emotional state is his most valuable currency, and he does not spend it carelessly on people who have not earned that privilege. This creates a natural hierarchy where others must prove their worth to gain access to his inner world. Think of the most powerful men throughout history. They were not the ones who wore their hearts on their sleeves, but those who maintained composure even in the face of adversity. Their emotional restraint became a source of strength that others could not help but respect. This distance creates what psychologists call the scarcity principle. When something is rare or difficult to obtain, it automatically becomes more valuable. In our minds, your emotions, your approval, your attention become precious commodities that people will work harder to earn. The man who gives his emotional energy freely to everyone receives no special treatment from anyone. But the man who is selective with his emotional investment finds that people compete for his attention and validation. This is not manipulation. This is understanding basic human psychology and using it to build stronger, more meaningful connections with those who truly matter. Machiavelli wrote that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. And this principle applies directly to modern dating and relationships. Fear in this context does not mean terror or abuse. It means the healthy respect that comes from knowing someone has standards and will walk away if those standards are not met. The man who is loved but not feared becomes a doormat. His partner knows she can treat him poorly because he will always forgive and stay. But the man who commands both love and respect creates a dynamic where his partner values the relationship because she knows it could end if she does not contribute her best. Most men today have been conditioned to believe that unconditional love and endless patience are virtues in relationships. They give second chances, third chances, and fourth chances to people who repeatedly disrespect them. This creates a toxic dynamic where bad behavior is rewarded with more attention and effort. The cold man understands that some consequences must be immediate and final. When someone crosses his boundaries, there is no lengthy discussion or negotiation. There is simply distance or removal from his life. This approach filters out people who are only interested in taking advantage of kindness and attracts those who genuinely appreciate what you bring to the table. Women often say they want a nice guy, but their actions consistently show attraction to men who challenge them and maintain their own standards. The fear of losing someone valuable motivates better behavior than the comfort of knowing someone will tolerate anything. This creates relationships built on mutual respect rather than one-sided sacrifice. The nice guy believes that kindness alone will earn him respect and attraction. But kindness without strength is not virtue. It is weakness disguised as morality. Machiavelli observed that those who rely solely on goodness in a world where others use cunning and strategy will inevitably be destroyed or forgotten. The nice guy gives compliments freely, agrees with everything, and never challenges anyone because he fears conflict more than he values his own opinions. This behavior signals to others that he has no backbone and no principles worth defending. Nice guys operate from a place of scarcity and desperation rather than abundance and choice. They shower women with attention, gifts, and validation before earning any reciprocal investment because they believe this will create attraction and loyalty. Instead, this behavior communicates that they do not believe they deserve better treatment and that their time and energy have no value. Women instinctively recognize this dynamic and lose respect for men who place them on pedestals without requiring anything in return. The nice guy becomes a reliable source of validation, but never a romantic option. The cold man understands that respect must come before affection, and that boundaries create attraction more than endless accommodation. He is kind to those who deserve kindness, but ruthless in protecting his time and energy from those who would exploit his good nature. He does not seek to be liked by everyone because he understands that universal approval is impossible and trying to achieve it makes you forgettable. True strength lies in being selective with your kindness and making others earn the privilege of your full attention and care. The cold man does not build walls around his heart out of fear. He constructs strategic gates that open only for those who have proven themselves worthy of entry. Machiavelli taught that showing all your cards makes you predictable and weak, but never showing any cards makes you inhuman and isolated. The art lies in revealing pieces of yourself at calculated moments to create deeper connections, without sacrificing your power or mystery. This is not about manipulation. It is about understanding that vulnerability shared too quickly or with the wrong people becomes a weapon they can use against you. Most men make the mistake of emotional dumping early in relationships, sharing their deepest fears, insecurities, and past traumas within the first few conversations. They believe this creates intimacy and trust, but instead it overwhelms the other person and removes all sense of discovery and progression. Women want to feel like they are uncovering layers of a complex man over time, not receiving his entire life story in a single evening. The cold man shares his struggles and emotions selectively, creating moments of genuine connection that feel earned and special. Strategic vulnerability means choosing the right person, the right moment, and the right amount of openness to share. It means being honest about your experiences without seeking sympathy or validation from others. When you do open up, it should come from a place of strength and self-awareness, not from neediness or the hope that someone else will fix your problems. This approach creates authentic intimacy while maintaining the respect and attraction that comes from being a man who has his emotional house in order. Predictable men become invisible. They are safe, comfortable, and ultimately boring to everyone around them. Machiavelli understood that maintaining an element of mystery and unpredictability keeps others engaged and prevents them from taking you for granted. The man who always responds within minutes, always agrees with popular opinions, and follows the same routine every day becomes background noise in other people's lives. But the man who occasionally surprises, who has hidden depths and unexpected interests, who cannot be easily categorized becomes someone worth paying attention to. Unpredictability does not mean being chaotic or unreliable with important commitments. It means breaking patterns that make you too easy to read and manipulate. Sometimes you respond immediately to messages. Sometimes you take hours or days, not because you are playing games, but because you have a life that does not revolve around your phone. Sometimes you are the life of the party. Sometimes you prefer quiet conversations, not because you are inconsistent, but because you are complex and multifaceted like any interesting person should be. This calculated unpredictability creates what psychologists call intermittent reinforcement, one of the most powerful tools for maintaining interest and engagement. When people cannot predict exactly how you will respond or what you will do next, they pay closer attention to your words and actions. They cannot put you in a box or take your reactions for granted. This keeps relationships fresh and prevents the stagnation that kills attraction and respect over time. The cold man remains an enigma that others want to solve, but never completely can. The cold man understands that perception is reality, and that allowing others to define who you are is surrendering your power to those who may not have your best interests at heart. Machiavelli wrote extensively about the importance of controlling how others see you because your reputation determines how they treat you and what opportunities come your way. Most men passively accept whatever label society, women, or their social circles place on them. But the strategic man actively shapes his own narrative through his actions, his words, and the stories he chooses to tell about himself. Your reputation is built through consistent actions over time, not through what you say about yourself or how you defend against criticism. The cold man rarely argues with people who misunderstand him because he knows that defensive behavior only reinforces negative perceptions. Instead, he demonstrates his character through his choices and lets his results speak louder than his words. He curates his social media presence, chooses his associations carefully, and maintains standards that align with the image he wants to project. This is not about being fake. It is about being intentional with how you present yourself to the world. People will create stories about you whether you participate or not, so you might as well influence those stories in your favor. The cold man shares strategic information about his successes, his values, and his goals while keeping his failures, doubts, and weaknesses private until he chooses to reveal them. He understands that mystery creates intrigue, and that people are more interested in someone who appears to have his life together than someone who constantly complains about his problems. In a world where everyone is desperate for attention and validation, the man who controls his own attention becomes the most valuable person in any room. Machiavelli understood that scarcity creates value while abundance destroys it. This principle applies directly to how you distribute your time, energy, and focus to others. The man who gives his attention freely to everyone receives no special treatment from anyone, because his attention has no price and therefore no worth. But the man who is selective with his focus finds that people compete for his time and treat it as the precious resource it actually is. Most men today scatter their attention across dozens of social media platforms, responding to every notification, liking every post, and engaging in meaningless conversations with people who add no value to their lives. This behavior trains others to expect instant responses and constant availability, creating a dynamic where you become a servant to other people's needs and schedules. The cold man establishes clear boundaries around his time and attention. He does not respond to every message immediately. He does not engage with drama or negativity, and he prioritizes his own goals over other people's entertainment. When you make your attention scarce, people begin to value the moments when they have your full focus. Your words carry more weight because you do not waste them on trivial conversations. Your presence becomes more impactful because people know you choose to be there, rather than having nowhere else to go. This creates a natural hierarchy where people must earn your time rather than demanding it as an entitlement. Boundaries are not suggestions or flexible guidelines. They are unbreakable laws that define how you allow others to treat you and interact with your life. Machiavelli taught that a leader who does not enforce his rules will quickly find himself without followers or respect. The same principle applies to personal relationships. When you establish a boundary and then allow someone to cross it without consequences, you have taught them that your words mean nothing and that they can treat you however they choose. The cold man sets clear boundaries and enforces them immediately and consistently. Regardless of who violates them, most men establish boundaries with their words, but fail to back them up with actions when those boundaries are tested. They tell people they will not tolerate disrespect, dishonesty, or manipulation. But when someone engages in these behaviors, they make excuses, give second chances, or pretend nothing happened. This inconsistency destroys their credibility and invites further boundary violations because others learn that there are no real consequences for crossing the line. The cold man understands that boundaries without enforcement are merely suggestions. That smart people will ignore. Your boundaries must be based on your values and non-negotiables, not on what you think will make others happy or what society expects from you. When someone crosses a boundary, the response should be swift and proportional. This might mean ending a conversation, removing someone from your life, or simply refusing to engage with their behavior. The goal is not punishment, but protection. You are protecting your time, energy, and peace of mind from people who do not respect your standards. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must know how to use both the nature of the lion and the fox. The lion cannot defend himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. This dual approach applies perfectly to modern relationships and social dynamics, where different situations require completely different strategies. Sometimes you must be direct, confrontational, and unmovable like a lion. Other times you must be subtle, strategic, and adaptable like a fox. The cold man masters both approaches and knows exactly when to deploy each one. The lion's strategy is necessary when dealing with direct challenges to your authority, respect, or boundaries. When someone openly disrespects you, tries to manipulate you, or attempts to make you look weak in front of others, subtle responses will be seen as weakness or fear. In these moments, you must respond with the strength and directness of a lion. Clear communication, firm boundaries, and immediate consequences for unacceptable behavior. This approach commands respect and establishes your position in any social hierarchy. The fox strategy works best in complex social situations, where direct confrontation would create unnecessary enemies or damage important relationships. Sometimes, you must be patient, observe quietly, and maneuver around obstacles rather than charging through them. This might mean allowing someone to reveal their true character over time, building alliances before making your move, or finding indirect ways to achieve your goals. The cold man switches seamlessly between these approaches based on the situation, never locked into one mode of operation that limits his effectiveness. The ultimate goal of developing a cold, strategic mindset is not to manipulate others or win games. It is to build a life so compelling and well-ordered that people naturally want to be part of it, rather than you chasing after their approval or attention. Machiavelli understood that true power comes from creating value and attracting loyalty through strength and competence, not through neediness or desperation. The cold man focuses on building his own kingdom, his career, his health, his skills, his wealth, his character, and his vision for the future becomes so impressive that others orbit around him like planets. Around the sun. Your personal kingdom consists of everything you control and everything you have built through your own effort and discipline. This includes your physical fitness, your financial independence, your professional reputation, your social network, your hobbies and interests, and your personal standards and values. When these areas of your life are strong and continuously improving, you become someone that others want to know, learn from, and be associated with. You stop chasing people because they start chasing you. You stop begging for opportunities because opportunities start finding you. The man with a strong personal kingdom does not need to play mind games or use manipulation tactics because his value is obvious and his life speaks for itself. Women want to be with him, men want to be him, and everyone respects his opinion because he has demonstrated competence and success in multiple areas. This is not about arrogance or looking down on others. It is about becoming the kind of person you yourself would want to follow and respect. The cold man is not heartless. He is strategic with his heart and selective with his energy because he understands that respect and attraction cannot be negotiated or begged for, but must be earned through strength and demonstrated value. Machiavelli's teachings remind us that the world rewards those who understand power dynamics and human psychology, not those who hope that good intentions alone will be enough. Every interaction is an opportunity to either build or destroy your reputation, to either gain or lose respect, and to either attract or repel the people and opportunities you desire in your life. The question you must ask yourself is this: will you continue being the nice guy who finishes last, giving your time and energy to people who do not value it, hoping that someday your kindness will be rewarded? Or will you become the cold man who commands respect through strength, attracts loyalty through value, and builds relationships based on mutual respect rather than one-sided sacrifice? If this video has challenged your thinking about relationships and personal development, subscribe to this channel for more content that will help you build the life and the character that others naturally want to be part of.